here on my Profound Professionals interview series. I'm here with Erin Brown from Radial Communications, and she's going to talk to us today a little bit about her story, her journey, and just some really great marketing tips and actions we can actually take now. So hi, Erin. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Jessica. Thank you so much for inviting me on this morning. I'm really excited to share some marketing tips with everyone today.
Yeah, it's been a really fun watching all of the live streams come through from everyone giving so much support. There is so many different amazing people I admire, Ann Brennan and Connie Fuchsa and so many others doing these live interviews and featuring other businesses. Profound Professionals is an interview series that's actually been going on for quite a while, and we focus on top leaders in industry and who are also doing something amazing to touch the world. So Erin, I would love for you to start with sharing with us a little bit about, who you are, where you're from, a little bit about your journey, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how your company serves and some really just great tips, things people can do and take action with right now.
Okay. So I was born and raised in Maryland, and now I'm based out of Southern Maryland. I went to Towson University where I studied mass communications. I really wanted to be a journalist. And then at some point during my college career, I decided that wasn't for me. And I took a different direction and went into marketing. And so since college, I've done some nonprofit work. I've worked for some community, like a community business. And then I took some time off. I had 2 small children. My kids are 14 months apart. And so I was a really busy mom for a little while. And I have so much respect for stay-at-home moms because I was not cut out for it. And I kind of realized that my kids were like 3 and 4, and I started dabbling with marketing consulting because I felt like I just needed to do something for me. So like I said, stay-at-home moms, all the props, especially right now because it is a tough time. And so I started doing a little dabbling in marketing consulting, and then it just kind of took off for me. I had one big client, and then I got a referral and another referral and another referral. And it got to a point where I was doing consulting for so many people that I decided it was time to really just level up and take it up a step. And so I formed Radial Communications so that I could, I'm going to call it a legit business, if you will. I went from being just a consultant who was doing it as a sole proprietor, not really making it a business, not advertising, nothing like that, no branding, to, okay, I think that this is at a point where I can, move forward and make it more of a career choice. And so I've been really fortunate. I can support my family with my business. And even as we're going through this, kind of changing landscape with COVID-19, I feel like it's still staying strong, and I'm happy to help other people who might be struggling to kind of use some of the same tactics I'm using to keep my business afloat during this time.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. So tell us a little bit about Radial Communications, and let's go through some of your slides here to share with everybody.
Okay, so I restructured when I was consulting. I was acting mainly as the marketing director for several companies. So I was the chief cook and bottle washer. I was doing everything. And I think that's great. And it was a good experience. And I'm glad I got to kind of dabble with everything. But when I formed Radial Communications, I took a step back and I said, what do I really want to be doing? And I like facilitating clients. I like project management. I like looking at a problem, figuring out how we're going to fix it. And then I like other people to actually fix it. So the way I structured Radial Communications is almost like a brokerage, or imagine like a general contractor for when you build a house. If you build a house, you have a general contractor, and then he has all these other subcontractors. And so that's actually how I run Radial Communications. So if a client comes to me and says, Erin, I need X, Y, and Z, we'll sit down, I'll make a strategy with them, and then we will I will then work with some other companies that I have vetted, I have worked with in the past that I'm very confident can deliver. I will work with them on the back end, and then I'm going to deliver a product that I think is better than an individual could deliver on their own. Other subcontractors. And so that's actually how I run Radial Communications. I heard a little
echo there. You're fine. Okay. Yeah, we had that because I got brave and was going to reply to someone. I always forget that messes up the video a little. So, technical difficulties, they exist. They're real. Keep going. But I wanted to say that I love the way you're structuring this. And I want to, in the time of pivoting, there's a golden nugget you sprinkled out there that people might have not caught. And that is, she is kind of the project manager and the director of this orchestra as it goes through and as it solves a problem for a client. This is maybe something you need to look at your business and see, how can I, lead the project and maybe then build this outsource team that supports your customer. This is a great business model. So please continue. Sorry about that.
Oh, no. I really love the way this is working. Not only am I able to provide my clients with what I think is a better product, whether it's branding or digital marketing, collateral development, what have you. I also love that I'm supporting other small businesses, right? Like I've been able to connect with other businesses that I know need the business, that I've developed relationships with. And so I love that I'm not only helping the client, but I'm also then, providing business to other small businesses who can also use it. Let's see, I feel like the things that I really focus on with Radial Communications obviously is strategy, right? So when I have a new client come in, I always ask them 4 things. I ask them what their goal is. So what are we trying to do? Because everybody's goals are different and I never want to push my goals on someone else, right? Who their target is. And it always surprises me because a lot of people don't have a very specific target market. Right. And it can be very broad and that can be very successful. But if you want to do, targeted marketing, it's really important to know who you're trying to sell to. And sometimes business owners are so wrapped up in what they're doing. Like let's say you're an IT company and you are phenomenal at IT and you want to provide IT for everyone. You don't take a step back and say, okay, well, what vertical do I want to focus on? Mm-hmm. And then I always ask my clients, do they follow up with their leads? And I feel like this is something it doesn't matter what business you're in. If you're getting leads, your marketing is working, but do you follow up with them? And I'm always surprised because people sometimes tell me no. And because they're busy doing other things. Well, I had to do this and I had to do that, but you need to follow up with your leads because if you don't follow up with them, you're not going to generate new business, right? There are people who are knocking on your door saying, hey, let me in, you have to open it. And then I always tell people to think about their budget. And this was actually really hard for me at first because I think marketing has a stigma that you're just throwing money away. I've heard this so many times. But I always ask people to think about what your budget is and what you're comfortable with so that we can develop a plan that kind of falls within that budget. Because I never want to recommend something that you can't afford, right? I have a huge goals for my marketing budget, but that's not where it is. So I need to be realistic.
So tell us about what you are sharing with. So you're talking about advertising budget, right? So one of the things you help your clients through is actual advertising on some of these platforms, and which platforms do you focus on? And let us hear really where your niche is.
Okay, so it really depends on the type of business. If you are a business to business service company, you can market on Facebook. I love to really use LinkedIn as a source for that because you're reaching those business professionals. I do really love that Facebook allows really, really in-depth targeting. I'm sure everyone out there has seen the boost button, but if you take a step back, you can really target people on Facebook. So I do like Facebook advertising.
Now I heard through the rumor weeds because I do not help with, I am not a professional in helping with advertising. I do not do that piece of it at all. But I heard that they removed some of the really detailed filters on how you could search for people. Did they take away some of that, drill down and get to your market, or is that just a rumor?
No, they did. And it's always changing. Things are coming back, which is something that is really frustrating for someone not in marketing. As a small business owner, if you have something that's working phenomenally, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? That's my strategy. Mm-hmm. If it's working for you, keep going. But then all of a sudden one day, your ad is no longer in compliance and you're like, wait, what happened? And it's because Facebook is consistently changing their rules, changing their algorithms. And how they're pushing ads. Same with Google ads. An ad that might have been okay last month is no longer okay. And that's really frustrating for business owners because you're trying to manage every other aspect and then things are changing that you don't even know about.
Well, that's huge too, because I have to say, even as a consumer, I'm becoming more sensitive to ads that are insensitive. And I'll give you an example. I was watching, I don't know, Netflix or something, right? Maybe no, not Netflix. One of the ones that's free and it has the little commercials in between. Well, a lot of the commercials have stepped it up and have gotten savvy to incorporate what's happening in our world and be sensitive to that. Well, one of the ads, and I don't remember what it was for, so I'm not going to call a company out, but they kept in it that the mom was hunting for some soccer shoes, and and soccer is breaking our heart right now. My daughter's favorite thing is soccer. That's one of the things we miss so much as is being able to do that. And so it's frustrating to me because it bothers her and it bothers me every time we see the stupid commercial. So really you have to shift your advertising, has to match what's happening in the world, because that would have, of course, never bothered me before. I would have been more drawn to that commercial because I'm a soccer mom. We are the soccer family.
Me too.
So really paying attention to the message you're putting out there and making sure it's matching what's happening to the world is really huge. So I think we're dying to get through some of these slides. Are we ready to jump in a little?
I was going to say that is the perfect segue into the slides I put together today, because it's how to stay relevant with exactly what's going on, how not to make your customers angry, and how to try to come out on the other end of this, with your head above water. So yeah, I am ready to dive in if you are.
Let's go. Let's give them some great nuggets of things they can do right now to stay on top of things.
Okay. So some of the things I'm going to talk about, you might already know, but not everybody knows them. And some people may know them, but didn't think of it. So keep that in mind. So today we're really going to talk about the importance of why you should still be doing marketing, even though it feels like that's the last thing on your mind. What you can do to drive the biggest impact, how you need to change your message, exactly like the soccer example, right? Like they should have pulled that out because it's just ticking people off. And then I don't know if you'll have any follow-up.
Sad. That's all. It's making us sad.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So that's kind of where we're going to talk about today. I'm going to go ahead and dive in. So in today's market, brand awareness is really important. You really want to make sure that your target knows that you're open for business, knows who you are, and has a way to remember you. And I saw an ad for Koch the other day, and it really, really drove home. It was a great analogy. It said, marketing is like asking someone out on a date, and branding is the reason they say yes. So marketing is putting it out in front of someone, and then your brand awareness is what makes someone come to you. So really making sure that your brand is in front of people in a positive way is so important. It's important to remember that opportunities do still exist. I feel like it is really easy to get kind of caught up in the fact that everybody's staying at home. People are not out and about. Businesses are shut down, but they're not, right? People are working remotely. So even if you think that everything is kind of flatlined, you really still need to be aware that things are still happening. People are shopping online. Like I said, people are working from home, and they're looking for new ways to interact with businesses. And this is really a great time to, and maybe this is, I hate to say beat your competition, right? But it is a good time to look at what your competition is doing and see what you can do differently to reconnect with your customers. Because there are going to be, people who don't do anything, and this is a great time to leverage that and just really push yourself forward. And a lot of that can be done with digital marketing. I think that that's going to be a really big push in the coming months, is digital marketing and how you can use that to your advantage.
Well, and I'm going to just back you on that, because I'm going to say I've seen a lot of recent research on what's happening in the small business community and their projections for, how many of the businesses are going to make it when this shakes out, and how many have already been forced, and breaking my heart, to shut their doors. And really, it is going to be the people who push themselves to be creative, learn something new, think outside of the box, pivot quickly, pay attention to the needs of the people around them, and find a way to be a solution that's an affordable solution, and then scale, and scale
Exactly.
with your type of marketing. So it's going to be the corner, it sounds corny, but the strongest are going to survive. This is going to be a thinning of the small business community. But the good news is, in history, it always bounces back. other great small business or new idea will be formed based on what's happening in our world right now, and will and some businesses will have more success than ever. So it's not all doom and gloom, but you really have to step up so that you're not threatened to be one of those that is thinned out.
I couldn't agree more. And it is sad that small businesses are going to suffer. But you can do everything you can and go down kicking and screaming to not be that business, right? And that's kind of where my head is. Like, what can I do to make sure that when this is all over, I can still put food on the table for my family? Because I'm a little bit of a millennial. I don't want a 9-to-5 job. I hate to admit that because I am right on the tail, like the beginning of the millennials. There's a stigma. But I love working from home. I love working for myself. And I do not want to give that up. So what do I need to do right now to make sure that I don't have to get up at 6:15 every day and drive in the dark? Because I don't want to do that. Like we were talking before, I like to stay in bed if I can. So
yeah, right.
Here's what you can do. You need to update your online business information. And this seems like a no-brainer, but people forget, where is your business listed? Is it listed on Google? Is it listed on Yahoo, Yelp? Is it on Facebook? Where is the information about your business listed? Because there is nothing more frustrating than thinking a business is open and going there to like get takeout or curbside or whatever it is, and they're not open. And you don't want to be that person because that leaves a sour taste in people's mouth. You don't want to be the business where the phone just rings and rings and rings. If your phones are not going to be answered, put something on them that says, hey, we're not answering the phones right now. Send us an email, whatever it is. Just make sure you're updating your information, both online and in your brick and mortar if you have it. Display ads are also a really great thing to be using right now. And I think display ads can all be a little bit jargony. Display ads are the like little banner ads you see on Facebook. They are the ads that follow you around when you put shoes in your shopping cart and then you go to buy pet food and whoo, there they are, right? Those are what display ads are. There are some really easy ways you can implement them. If you don't know how to do that, I'm happy to walk you through that. But it's really not as hard as you think it is to do that. And that's a great way to just kind of stay relevant with your customers. Social media is a huge way to stay in front of people. And with all advertising, organic advertising versus paid advertising can be a little dicey. And so in order to leverage social media quickly, you really need to be doing some kind of paid advertising. The best way I like to describe it to people is if you want a tree in your yard and you go to the store and you plant the tree and you water it every day for a year, however you're supposed to. And then at the end of the year, you're going to have a little tree. If you want a tree in your yard right now, you go to the nursery, you buy one that's in a pot and you dig a hole and you plant it. And so that's kind of the difference between organic marketing and paid marketing. Paid marketing is putting it in front of people right now. Organic marketing is growing slowly. And there's nothing wrong with either one. There's absolutely benefits to both. But if you're looking to stay in front of and gain new customers right now, I do recommend some kind of paid advertising. And it's hard to put out money in an economy where you're uncertain. But that is a place I would say is a good place to put your marketing dollars. Like you said, again, you really just want everything to be custom and relevant to what's happening. You don't want to be the company that's making people sad. If your site is not optimized, this is kind of going back to that organic marketing. That's something that you should be doing all the time, but just continue to make sure your websites are optimized, your Facebook's optimized. And that means doing things like using keywords in your ads, using keywords on your website, keeping your website content relevant. Start a blog. You're sitting at home all day. I know you've got some extra time. Blog about your business. It doesn't have to always be like an article, if you will, right? You could take a personal approach. People are really engaging in personalized things right now. So, for myself, I could write a blog about, the importance of, I'm drawing a blank, but something that's relevant to my life, like work-life balance. Hi, I have my own business and I also have these kids I'm supposed to be homeschooling.
Homeschooling, yeah.
That doesn't work. And so, it doesn't have to be completely business related. You can, if you're not good at blogging, make it personal. Anybody can write about themselves and their life. So, and then the last thing would be continuous communication with your audience. So if you have an email list, send them an email. Hey, we're still open, or hey, we're not essential and we don't have an online, we're just a brick and mortar. We don't have an online business. We are going to be back and we're going to let you know when we are. So whether you're up, whether you're down, whether your hours are cut, whatever it is, just make sure your audience knows that. Post that on your Facebook page, because the worst thing you can do is not communicate. You become unrelevant and people forget you. So you just want to stay like on the forefront with your customers. Again, this kind of just goes along with, like I said, changing your information. So these are some examples of like Google My Business and what people are seeing. And you want to just make sure you've gone in and you've edited your business information on Google, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, wherever you're housing it. And make sure it's consistent. This is the one thing I cannot stress enough. You need to have your business information consistent on all of your platforms. Google recognizes if it's not consistent, and it's going to push you down in rankings. So if I had 3 different hours of operation listed on 3 different platforms, Google is going to say, wow, this is going to confuse her customer base. We don't want to show her to people. And you don't want to be that business that gets pushed down because you didn't update everywhere. That's a good place to start. Again, so you might want to modify your message to stay relevant. As you can see, these are 3 examples of the same company doing the same thing. But this is showing, in the beginning, it's showing something kind of bland. Okay, now it's like a little bit more into spring. They're showing what it could look like. And then the last one, I feel like it's not pretty, right? But it's showing that they're still relevant. They're still out there working. So while it's not displaying what they're selling and their service, it's saying, hey, look, we're still working. We're still going, even though there's this pandemic happening. And you want to be the company, again, that people recognize is still up and running. So you also might want to adapt your services. These are just 2 examples of different ways companies have adapted. And I know we've been seeing this a lot. I went to Panera for dinner last night, and I ordered on my app on my phone, and Panera brought it out to my car, which is not something they normally do, right? There are services that were already curbside, but they have launched this new service where if you order on your app for Panera, they bring it out to your car. And I think that just kind of taking a look at your business and seeing what can you do to make your service or your product or whatever it is able to be used right now. So, maybe it means that you're Skyping instead of having in-person meetings. That's something you didn't do before. Or you're sending them, their packet in the mail, or you're making curbside available. And it really just trying to adapt to make sure that you can stay relevant. This idea that, your business can stay the same, I think in all aspects is never really how it works. But now is a time, like you said, for change, for creativity. Take a step back. Here's what I'm doing. What can I do differently to get to engage with my customers and provide them what I have to offer?
So I think there's some different words out there on mailing things. Do you feel like that is still a comfortable thing to do? Is there any have you heard about it? I know we're not, either of us are in the health profession, but I've been trying to think about ways. I wanted to like physically mail things to people, but then I was concerned because I'm not sure, if just shipping it straight from a store or some other location is the way to go. Or even then, I know everyone's wearing gloves and masks, but you never know the journey of a product before it gets to someone's door. I've even hesitating on like ordering a book online, and because you just don't know where its path went. So.
I agree. I've been struggling a little bit with this myself, mainly listening to my parents, right? My parents are older and they're having groceries. My dad's driving and picking them up, but someone else is picking their groceries for them, which is better, right? It's better than him going in the store. He's, pushing 73. I don't want him in the store, but then I also don't want, Sarah touching his fruit, right? Because I need you to go home and then you put gloves on and then you wash it. And it's this kind of conundrum that I feel like in this kind of situation is, it's just one of those things. It's a personal choice. I'm still getting my mail, and I'm also very guilty of shopping online. So I am still doing that. That being said, now is not the time to do direct mail that's going to get stuck in a pile. I really love direct mail marketing. I think it can be exceptionally effective. Now is not the time to do that, because if you think about a business that has, say, an admin assistant that sits at a desk, they're going to come in, it's going to be this much mail, and they're going to look at your marketing piece and go, nope, next, this isn't important, right? This isn't making it past my desk. And you don't want your materials to go there. Right. I would say though, that if you have a relationship with a client and you want them to have something hard, like a hard copy of something, I am a paper person. You know, in this internet technology world, I'm a paper person. I want to hold it in my hand. I like the real brochure, that type of thing.
Right.
And so if someone asked me, hey, can I send this to you? I would say, yes, please send it to my personal address. Don't send it to my work address because, you know,
Right.
I'm not seeing it. And then I would want it that way. I wouldn't want some kind of spammy type thing.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's kind of a situational, you know, situational thing, to be
Yeah.
honest. I haven't heard anything about mail and making you sick, but you never know what they're going to tell us tomorrow, right? It's changing almost constantly.
True.
So
Yeah.
it is possible. So definitely ask people. If you're going to mail them something, I'd say ask them first. Right?
Yeah, and I'd love for everybody to chime in on what they've heard about and what their feeling is on receiving mail or whether it's safe to send mail. So put something in the comments if you can help give everyone. I think this is something that people are in the middle about because, you know, we don't want to be too, I mean, we all want to be mega careful and this all to go away. But we also want to be able to still communicate. And like you said, it's better for your parents to get groceries that someone else is picking out than going into the store. So at some point we have to say, okay, this is the very best we can do. But I would love to hear what people's thoughts are about mail and mailing their customers things, or even like, because I thought about like sending out packets of seeds or something like that, just something nice to let, and a handwritten card to say, hey, I'm thinking of you. But then I didn't want someone to feel uncomfortable receiving that from me. So I'm kind of on the fence with that. So I'd love for everyone to throw something in the comments if you can give us some ideas or some of your thoughts and how you would feel about that. Because we're looking at all different kinds of options for marketing. So please keep going, Erin. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I think that's great because you know, everybody has a different opinion, and it would be good to see what people say when they're not put on the spot. Like it's hard if someone says, hey, can I mail you something? It's harder to say no than it is before someone asks you to say, hey, I don't want any mail, right? So it'll be, I'm interested to see what, you know, what people think about that. So these are just 3 other examples of ways businesses have modified, but I specifically want to talk about the veterinarian contactless services. This is a great time to see if you can do something that your customers love. And so my girlfriend called me yesterday and she was telling me how it was amazing. She had to take her dog to the vet for something. And they came out to her car and they took the dog out and they took the dog in and the dog came back. And she was like, this is amazing because now I'm not dragging my dog. You know how it is when you take your dog to the vet, right? You're dragging them in, they're pulling back, they're whining. Then you get inside and it's like the worst 15 minutes of your life because they're going crazy in the waiting room. And I love the idea of them coming out to your car and getting your dog when it's your turn. That way your dog isn't as stressed. You're not sitting there stress sweating because your dog is barking and nipping at people or, you know, hovering behind you, crying, peeing on the floor, what have you. So this is a great time to say, hey, maybe this is something that's working really well that I can now offer in the future that's going to give me a leg up on my competitors, right? Like if I could pick a vet in the future that I didn't have to walk my dog into, I would choose that vet over one that I had to sit in the waiting room. At least that's been my experience. So you know, this is just something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. What are we doing right now that we want to do in the future because it's working? Because you had to think outside the box. So that's really all I have as far as like what you could be doing. I really think that now is a great time to look at your digital marketing strategy. And if you have one, then that's fantastic. What can you do to make it better? If you don't have one, you know, figure out how you can do one, find someone to help you. Because I think that, like I said, being present online right now and being, you know, available and communicating with your customers is really how you need to stay on top of your game and keep those leads coming in and keep the ones you already have coming back. I do want to mention that I team with a company called Vivial. It's a digital marketing agency, and we did this presentation together. You know, I said I facilitate customers who need strategies. So they're actually my digital marketing agency. So if I had a customer who came to me and said, hey, I need email marketing and social media marketing, and I want all of my website optimized and my listings optimized, that's actually who I work with. Like I said, I don't like to do the work. I like to figure out what we need to do and then have someone else do the heavy lifting for me. So that's the company that I partner with.
Well, I want to do a couple of quick shout outs. First, I want to thank you, of course, for your time, but I want to thank Brianna Bowling and Michelle Camioni. And Brianna is fantastic. As a matter of fact, she is super pivoting. She partners and works with someone else I just adore, who's Dr. Gwen Shaeda, and they're doing retreats. They used to do them in the Bahamas and at a beautiful resort kind of locations, one of which is Brianna Bowling's farm, is just fantastic retreat space. But they're pivoting and doing a virtual one coming up, and they've been advertising, putting that out on social media. I want to thank Blaney Teal for being here, and my fabulous young daughter in her 20s that Deanna, she jumped on with us. And everyone who watches the replay, please share your comments and chat with us. Tell us what you think. I really appreciate Erin giving us her time. I did have one other question that I put in the chat. I'm going to have you go through that later. In the comments, you'll see all of Erin's. Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us. I did have a couple of questions. So Sarah says, one of the things I do is personal brand photography. I can market all I want right now, but I can't shoot. So one of the things I would say to Sarah is consider doing a live webinar or a short training to help people understand how to pivot in this market and maybe take a few of their own shots and charge a small fee for the little class or training. Nothing too expensive, just a little something to keep some revenue coming in, and to support your customers in a way that is great for them for right now if they can't do their own photography. But one of my questions was, budget wise, when we start with Facebook or LinkedIn or something, what do we need? I mean, is there can we start with a teeny tiny small budget and then grow into like our big girl scaling, the big corporate client kind of? I think advertising on these platforms scares people. And I'm going to confess, I'm in social media and I'm training people all kinds of stuff all the time. And I tell you what, the ads scare me because I'm afraid, is it going to go uncontrollable? Oh my God, did that say $100 a day, or was it a month, or was that the max budget? Holy cow, what have I done? You know, it's scary.
So I like to say, do a budget you're comfortable with. As far as Facebook advertising, LinkedIn advertising, Google advertising, if your budget is small, stay on the social media platforms, because if your budget is really small and you try to do Google ads, they're going to get buried. You're just throwing your money away, I think, anyway. But it's better to spend your money where you know you're going to get in front of your target. And one thing I do recommend is, if you're going to do Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, have someone who knows what they're doing, do it. And I don't mean that in any kind of condescending way, but if you want to get the most bang for your buck, you really have to understand how to do it from the back end, as if you were, not just the admin on the page, but there's a whole ads manager that allows you to do some really incredible things. But if you don't know how to do it, it is cumbersome. It's frustrating. This is because I started originally doing this and it was cumbersome and frustrating. And I spent 3 hours on the phone with Facebook, like, help me. And now that I've gone through that process, I'm pretty fluid with it. But you don't want to throw your money away, and you don't want to be putting your ads in front of people who don't need your product, right? It's really easy to put your ad in front of the right person, like the right type of person, but you want to put your ad in front of a person that you can solve a problem for. And that's really where the super targeting comes into play. And
well, we have a great example online with us. So my friend Narit, Fit by Narit, does virtual coaching to help people and accountability every day, and meal plans and exercise plans that are not a diet, but a lifestyle. She has this really great style and feel about her. She's on here and she says also, the ads freak her out. So can we work with someone like you and say, okay, we really want to test this out and give it a shot and try something on Facebook to see if we can't draw in a few more customers to one of the classes or workshops or things we're putting out there online, like we suggested with Sarah? Can we spend $100, $200, $300, work with you and get just a little bit more exposure than we did before and just test it to see how it goes? Or, I mean, I hate to put you on the spot for a dollar amount, but is there some budget that you say you have to really, to get started at all, to do anything and to work with someone like you have to have XYZ to start? before you gave a real official proposal. And none of these dollars are, we're not holding her to the fire for anything she says here. This is an example of a possibility. Her proposal will be unique and special to you. So go.
Yes and no. So when you're setting up your ad, you put in what your budget is and you'll be able to see your ad reach. And that will tell you, so let's say you had $1,000 a day budget, right? You'll see what you're going to get for that. And if you had a $20 a day budget, you're going to see what you're going to get for that. And so that's really a judgment call once you take a look at it, because you have to think a good click-through rate and conversion is 1%, right? That's 1%. So if you're seeing that you're putting your ad out and it's going to have 20,000 impressions, is 1% of that enough for you to spend that money? How much is it going to cost for that lead to come into you, right? If you're doing it properly and you're getting good leads, I think it's worth it, right? You're getting a new customer, you're making more than it's costing you. The goal is always for your ads to bring in more revenue than it's costing you. You need a return on your investment. So you can take a look at that and decide based on that. I say, I don't like to tell people, I like at least $75 a week, maybe. You could go lower, but then we're really talking about, is this where you want to put your money? Or should you be putting your money somewhere else? Again, with Google, that's not enough money. That's like, major leagues and minor leagues. That's kind of, Facebook versus Google, as far as like cost wise. But again, the goal is always to make more money with your ads. So if you work with someone like me and you start with $150 a month, like, this is what I've got, I don't have any more. What can we do? Okay, well, let's make you $175. And then the next month, and then, the next cycle, we make $175. Well, now you've got $175 to spend with me because you've made revenue, and now you can afford to put more of that into your ad budget. So the goal is to make enough money to increase your ad budget, and then you're doing something right. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And it sounds like it's something, again, just like anything that needs some momentum, that you can take some momentum. Do you happen to know anything about the direct message cost for advertising with LinkedIn? I know you can like type a custom message and pay for so many of your, so many people, I guess, under certain parameters that you're not connected to get this message or something. Do you know anything about that one?
I don't. Unfortunately, I wish I could answer
good
that.
Homework for all of us. So
yes.
if you know anything about that ad or that kind of ad and you play with it, let us know, because it's an interesting one. I was always curious about how all that works, but I hate that there's so little customer service for so many of these places that you really, like you said, you spend 5 hours with Facebook. I don't even think I could reach a Facebook person. Okay, truly. So that's pretty impressive. I want us to talk about, because the whole point of Profound Professionals is a cause that makes your heart sing. So tell us a little bit about what you've been involved in outside of that.
So I'm really involved with the American Diabetes Association. I happen to also have diabetes, which is how I got involved. I had it for 20 some years. So this has been a cause that I've grown up with. I volunteered with them for a long time. I actually interned with them in college, doing fundraising, which is also really tied into marketing, because fundraising is all about sales, but it's a little different. And then after I interned with them, I took a full-time position and I worked with them for a few years. Unfortunately, the commute was really terrible and the pay wasn't enough, and it just, the value I was getting out of it intrinsically just wasn't paying my bills. So I had to stop working for them, but I did continue to do volunteering and fundraising. And so I think they're a great cause. I think that the money really does go back to people who need the help and need the resources. So if anyone is interested in learning more about that, please reach out to me. I know contacts there. I've been involved with the organization for a really long time. It's not an organization where you're going to give money and it's going to support a CEO's,
right. And we're really trying to make sure that we feature small business owners, really profound individuals, especially now. Even Profound Professional Interview Series is pivoting a little bit in our time, because we want to make sure that we are keeping top of mind all these charities that everyone has so lovingly supported. They need the love now more than ever, even if that's just exposure and sharing what's going on with them and what fundraisers they're trying to pivot and have. So just getting the word out there, liking, sharing, commenting, pushing it out there, and having conversations. We just featured yesterday American Cancer Society, and we'll be doing an interview with one of their team members later this week. I was actually interviewed live on their Facebook page. We're doing some collaborating as well to support the cause. So really want to give some love to them. We will be putting the links for everything we're talking about, including ways to reach Erin and the diabetes organization in the comments. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch us. I hope you can take some of these tips and some of these action steps and apply them in a way that it serves your business now and helps you. The other thing is collaborate, reach out to other people. If you're, especially like people in the industries that they're kind of shut down now, they don't have a lot they can do based on them not being essential and not having something that is already online. So reach out to people who are already doing things that are virtual and see and brainstorm how we can get your stuff out there in a virtual format so that you don't have to figure out all the tools and everything all at once. Really use and take advantage of people's service like Erin, so that when you do have the time and the budget to make this investment to grow what you're doing online, make sure it's getting done correctly and you're getting the most bang for your buck. When you have that guidance and someone who's figured it out so that you truly are talking to your targeted audience and you're really getting the return on your investment and more clients and more money in the house than you're spending out of the house in ads, working with someone like Erin makes that possible. So thank you for taking the time to watch the show. Thank you for giving us all the love and comments. And thank you, Erin, for sharing everything with us. Please like, share, and comment. I say that tons, and I will keep saying it. It's a way to show love. Don't just tell me you love me. Show it with actions. Please like, share, and comment. And
we call that organic marketing. When you like, share, and comment, that is organic marketing.
That's right. So,
yeah.
Give me some of the organic. I need some organic love. Before we say goodbye, though, I did want to ask Erin if she would share one more nugget, one more amazing thing, whether it's a quote, a favorite book, something that's getting her through this time, some way she's recently pivoted, something that she thinks is amazing or has impacted your life in some way or transformed your life somehow or just helped you get through. Is there one last thing you could share with us before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I think, and I hope I didn't project it on this call, but I think confidence is something that I really struggle with, really believing that I am as good as I think I am, and I see results and I know it, but just, that inner struggle of like, am I really meant to be doing this? And so a few years ago, I saw Mel Robbins speak, and she put out a presentation called the 5-second rule. And if you haven't seen it, you should go YouTube it. It's phenomenal. But it's based on the concept that when you decide you're going to do something, in your brain, you have 5 seconds to decide you're going to do it or to find an excuse why you're not going to. And so every time I start to feel any kind of like self-doubt or I am not sure if I should do that, I'm starting to think of the reasons that I shouldn't, even though I know I should, I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, okay, let's go, right? So it just takes those negative thoughts out of your head. And when you get to 1, it's like, all right, it's go time. Like I'm making the choice to move forward. And so that's just really helped me. I do it in my personal life. I do it in my professional life. And it's really just as simple as that. It's, making the choice to do something that you need to do, even though it might be a little uncomfortable. It's a little cliche, but great things happen when you get out of your comfort zone. And so that's just really pushed me to kind of move in that direction.
I think that is the most spot on advice you could give all of us right now. And I happen to be, I happen to have a love-hate bond with good old Mel. Man, she absolutely, I've watched her stuff and I think she's brilliant, funny, and amazing. And on the other hand, you wonder, it's probably me, right? Because she's poking you to say, all right, zip up the complaints, ladies, suck it up, buttercup, get the heck out there and do it. And what great advice to end with is just do it now, get uncomfortable, get out there and collaborate with people who can help you figure this stuff out. If you think of something you can do that will make your business thrive and that you'll be on the other side of this with the survivors, the thrivers, and the winners, when all of the world kind of resets and heals, you want to make it past that mountain and so you're going to have to climb a little to get to the top so that we can get to the other side of this together. We want to see you over there. We want to see you in the businesses that succeeded and that survived and thrived past this challenge. And in order to do that, then you need to take Erin's advice and apply some of these things to your marketing, get out of your comfort zone and just go do it. And yes, we will absolutely share and give Mel some love too. She's pretty awesome. We'll make sure her video link is in the comments also. We wish you all well. Thanks for spending some time with us. Until the next Profound Professionals, which is actually later this week, Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Thursday, April 23rd, I will be with one of the amazing leaders and spokesperson I'll be interviewing from American Cancer Society. So until then, I wish you all health, safety, and love. Thank you, Erin, and goodbye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Share the replay, like, share, and comment. Organic
Yes,
love.
please.
Bye.
Bye.